My name is Adrian Nantchev, and this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification right next to it for the latest uploads. Now, how is it you go about expanding your business? Well, it's worth understanding straight away that in business you never really want to expand too fast and too far. You can really overstretch everything. The systems, logistics, the operations, everything. One of the first things I was taught, I was getting into business by a mentor from, I think, University of Wharton, or no, Wharton Business School. I can't remember his name. I remember his face. It was Professor, I can't remember. Anyway, he said that you don't want to go too far. No. Growth in business is like nature. You don't want too much of it, or like a hurricane. Okay, here it is. Growth is like a hurricane. It can be both destructive and constructive, if I'm getting that right. Going too far too fast can be detrimental to your cause, to your business. Again, logistics, operations and whatever. You stretch yourself. Not good. It is not a case of grow or die. It's a case of grow at your pace. Grow at however fast you can handle, you can manage. It's worthwhile having ways from day one, implementing like systems or procedures or technology or software, so in the future, later on, you can expand a lot easier. You can just add on and bolt stuff onto the business, as opposed to retrofitting and retrograding extra things onto the business, and it's easy to expand. So remember, only at your own pace, that's what matters. Of course, competition and all the rest, it's a different question. Then it's a case of marketing, by the way, but that's a little different. That's a different question. So, business, you want to grow and expand it at your own pace. Ideally, also, you want to have what's called low gearing in finance, low gearing. And gearing is really a calculation between your revenue or cost of operations divided by your debt, or the revenue divided by your debt, something along the lines of that. Where if you're too highly geared, then you're relying on too much debt to fund your operation, and if there's something wrong, interest rates for example, or something wrong with supply chain or customers or sales or whatever, so a black swan event, which is an unpredictable event that can affect you, that can affect you being able to pay off this debt, and that affects you be able to function. So you need to be careful of high and low gearing. You can also be negatively geared, where if I get this right, you're relying on too little of your own capital, too little of debt, where you can actually borrow some more to be much more efficient, so long as your increased percentage revenue pays for the interest of the debt. So that way, as a side note, you can use debt very smart and very cleverly in business. So be aware of that. Understand also that you're only really in competition with yourself in terms of like here, and I suppose in the wallet as well, because you're only going to be as strong as the leader, the person in charge, is as smart. And also, the company as a whole is only going to be as strong in its worst case scenario. You know, like when you're looking at companies or startups or stocks to invest in, if a company, what's called the beta, how does this company perform compared to a benchmark in the wider economy, wider world, wider sector? Looking at it and saying that this company is only going to be as strong as it is in a recession, in a downturn, when all the credit has been squeezed and there's no line of credit and customers' belts are tightening. Then, by the way, as a side note, when in a downturn, you need to spend more money on advertising and and gaining more market share, because everyone else is thinking, I need to tighten up, I need to cut on 50%, reduce the budget on marketing and advertising, everything else like that. That's when you do the opposite. When competitions are contracting from the market space, you need to expand in the market space, because they're thinking, oh, I need to spend less on marketing. Do the opposite. So your company is only going to be as strong in a downturn, which means that in a 2008 style crash, what would the situation, the condition, the financials be of your company? That's the worst case scenario. That's what you've got to prepare for, and it's worthwhile also. And like an analogy, preparing for a rainy day or prepare for a blizzard when it's a heat wave outside, and vice versa. When it's raining, you want to be out there with buckets getting as much water as you can, so when it's a heat wave, you've got plenty of water to drink. When times are easy, you only prepare for the times are hard, and vice versa. And also worthwhile knowing also that When you're successful, you party. When you're defeated, you ponder, you think. So this is why you can also learn a lot more stuff from defeat and when things are bad. Because when things have gone wrong, it means you've made a mistake, which means that the free market is trying to correct your mistake in some way by reallocating resources elsewhere, by everyone pursuing their own interests, meaning that you've done something wrong and need to change it. This is why, as a side note, that companies that rely too much on debt or corporate or government welfare, like subsidies, aren't really that worthwhile of a company. Meaning, because if the debt or the government was not there, they would not be able to stand on their own 2 feet. Would not be able to stand on their own 2 feet, and compound that with during a recession. What are the debtors and what are the creditors and what's the government bound to do? Call in the loan, or the banks are going to do what's called accelerate. They're going to activate what's called the acceleration clause, which means that want to pay the money now, or the government is going to reduce the subsidies because the tax revenue or complications or budget allocation or things like that. So a company is only going to be as strong when it's in a downturn, when it's in its weakest position, and also prepare for the good times when it's the bad. Prepare when it's the good times. Prepare for the bad times. That's worthwhile doing. And also, as a side note, with regards to debt, it's always worthwhile seeking more debt and more money, more investors when times are easy. Because you don't want to be when times are hard and you're desperate. You're desperate, the key word, desperate for money, and they have the upper hand in the negotiations. Oh, I see you are desperate for my money. Oh, okay, that's 20% interest compounded hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. They can name their price, you know, because you're desperate. So bear that in mind. Now the question of the day to you is, how are you expanding your business? How are you expanding it? I'm actually working on a little bit of a project right now, so I want to keep it a little secret, but some of the stuff I've mentioned earlier in this little video is hinting towards what I'm doing and how I'm going to do it. But how are you expanding your business? How are you expanding your business? That's the question of the day. But remember also that this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification right next to it for the latest uploads. How cool is that?